Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of America in Black and White. Oh, excuse me. Tonight we have a very special guest, Mr. Joseph Moore, who's going to be here to share some insights and some experiences he's had in his life as a cheer coach, a personal trainer, and a stylist. Let me tell you guys a little bit more about Joseph. Joseph Moore was born in the small town of Tuskegee, Alabama. He began to show interest in cheerleading around the age of 11. While attending Opelika Middle School, he began loving the sport of cheerleading. He would watch the routines being done during the prep rallies and football games and would go home to perform them. He almost tried out during his seventh grade year, but chickened out. He didn't show interest in cheerleading again until his eighth grade year at Booker T. Washington High School. He saw male cheerleaders tumbling, jumping, and stunting, and it put a smile on his face and in his heart. He started cheering basketball season of his ninth grade year on the junior varsity team. 10 to 12th grade, he was on the varsity cheer team where he attended both Universal Cheerleading Association and National Cheerleading Association camps. He received All-American during his senior year of cheerleading at National Cheerleading Association camp. Towards the end of his senior year of high school, he decided to further his career by trying out for Troy State University, now Troy University. He did not make the team, but still wanted to cheer in college. Transferring from Auburn University, Montgomery to Tuskegee University, he found a second chance at cheering in college. He went on to cheer from 2003 until 2010. Once his cheer career at Tuskegee was over, he had the opportunity to conduct camps, clinics for local high school and middle school. He went on to do camps, clinics with other middle schools, recreational teams, high schools, etc. His first company, Cheer Dynamic, was built to provide people of color the opportunity to have access to skills, coaching that some schools may not have funding for. The company was disbanded in 2013 and later reassembled in 2016, only to be completely trashed in 2017. He struggled with receiving support with the company for a long time. With a new company, Infinity Elite LLC, he wants to ensure that all cheerleaders, male and female, can do what they love and love what they do. Hairstyling was his second love, picking up the skill in high school when his mom would ask him to apply relaxer to her hair. He was sure to apply the product to the root of her hair and making sure not to burn her forehead, ears, and neck. It went from this simple task to doing different styles such as the French roll and ponytails. He would use YouTube to get an understanding as to how to do these various styles. He enjoyed doing his mom's hair. She will always push him outside of his box each time with a new and different style. He has done styles on his cousin and aunt, but most of his work has been displayed on his mom. He hopes to go get his license in cosmetology and be able to do more styles on more clients beyond his mom. Fitness was always around because in cheerleading you must be physically fit to be able to perform all aspects of cheer. Once his cheer career came to a beautiful close, fitness was able to keep its existence. He enjoyed going on long walks as well as doing some calisthenics. It was until 2022 when he decided to learn more about personal training. He got his certification from ISSA, that's the International Sports Science Association. He has added fitness to his company, Infinity Elite, because cheer and fitness goes hand in hand. He has yet to build a clientele, but he is always ready, willing, and able to work with anyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring Mr. Joseph Moore to the show. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to that wonderful bio?
No, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Well, good to have you on the show. So tell us, what has actually been happening lately in your world as far as the cheer coaching and the personal training?
Um, well, I actually had the opportunity to to teach material to Tuskegee University. They had trials this past Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I taught the material, a cheer, a chant, and a dance to them, and also had to demonstrate the material for the judges because they didn't know what the material looked like. So I had to demonstrate as to what the material is supposed to look like versus what they will see from the individuals trying out.
So was this doing a lot of that running and jumping and flipping and all that stuff, or was it just something basic?
It was for me it was basic, but for those that were trying out, they did the running, the jumping, the flipping. They did
Mhm.
all of that.
Okay. So so how do you approach creating a positive and inclusive a team culture within a cheerleading squad?
Um, First, you always have to go into it with a positive mindset. You always have to make sure that everyone knows that cheerleading is all about having fun. Even though you're there to do a job, you still want to make sure you're having fun doing it, because if you're not having fun, then you're not going to be able to display the excitement to your audience. You're not going to be able to be able to display your enthusiasm for the sport to your audience, because they can read your body language as well as see what you're doing to know that you enjoy doing what you do.
Okay. So so when you actually was interested in cheering, as you say from a young age, well, were you able to do all of those flips and all those running and jumping things that I see the cheerleaders doing today?
Now as far as the tumbling aspect, I really didn't learn tumbling until probably 18, 19 years old. But as far as the jumping, the cheering, the dancing aspect of it, I kind of learned it by watching other cheerleaders do it and just going home and mimicking what I saw.
Okay. And so is that how you decided that you would take this and you would create and craft your own company?
Yes. Well, and then also too, looking at my coaches from high school and from college, just seeing how they showed interest and how they were passionate about wanting their team to look good and pushing them beyond their own abilities to see what they actually can do. That motivated me to want to actually like get into coaching more, because it's hard to do something you love when you don't have someone behind you pushing you and motivating you and encouraging you to want to go further or to want to do more than what you're displaying or what you're able to do.
So tell me how do you feel now that you're now referred to as Coach Moore. How does it feel to be Coach Moore?
it it took a while. I'm not gonna lie. Once I initially stopped cheering, I had to kind of detox from the sport for at least a solid year. Like I didn't go to any football games, any basketball games, because I didn't know how it felt to be a spectator. I was
Mhm.
so used to being in the spotlight, I didn't know how it felt to actually be out of the spotlight. So I had to kind of detox for at least a solid year. And once I kind of had some time away from it, and I realized that, okay, I can actually be just as useful behind the scenes as well as in the spotlight, I realized that I can actually like really coach instead of just wanting to be seen. I can actually be heard just as loud as I'm being seen.
Okay. So, discuss your approach to developing training programs for cheerleaders. How do you tailor these programs for different skill levels?
Usually, whenever I go work with a team, I usually ask the coach like how many girls you have, like what are their skill level? Are they strict? Are they totally new to cheerleading? Do they have some cheerleading knowledge? It kind of helps me to develop a an approach as to what I need to do with them, how I need to work with them. Do I need to kind of baby them and kind of go with them step by step, or do I need to go a little more advanced, a little more stern when it comes to like teaching them a cheer, a chant, or showing them their proper technique as far as a jump, or showing them what their body position is supposed to look like when they're stunting, or how they're supposed to tumble. Like I need to know going into it, who am I working with? What kind of individual am I working with? So that way I know how to approach them, because if it's someone that's really eager, that's driven, then I know, okay, I won't have to break stuff down so much. But if it's someone that's fairly new to the sport, then I may have to kind of like go a little bit more in depth as to what it is that I'm trying to get them to do.
Okay. So what is your ultimate goal to have your own academy?
That's my goal. Yes, that's my goal.
So what does it take to have an academy? But then also, are there any other black men such as yourself or black people within the LGBTQ community that actually have these kind of academies to actually bring kids that look like you into them?
Um, there aren't a lot of gym owners that are black. I think there are, well, okay, on a scale, there's probably maybe I want to say 25% of most of the gym owners that are black. A lot of them are white or Asian or Hispanic, but there's not a lot of black gym owners. There are some out there now that have had their company for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, but there aren't many in the area that in the southeast. Like I take it back.
Mhm.
There's a few in Florida. There aren't many in Georgia.
Mhm.
I think there's one black lady. She has a company. Well, actually, there's two black companies in Georgia, but they're South Georgia. There's none in the northern Georgia area.
So none in Metro Atlanta.
Hmm.
So have you heard of any in Alabama and South Carolina?
There there aren't any in Alabama that are known. There are some that are in the works, but they are just in the beginning stages. But there aren't any in that I know of in South Carolina that I've heard of. The rest of
So
them are like kind of more upper East Coast.
okay. So on the other side of Mason Dixon.
Hmm.
So tell us this. So tell our audience, what does a Coach Moore cheer academy, what does that look like and what does it bring when it's actually opening and blossoming and you're welcoming all of the folks that's going to come? What does that look like?
It's it's not going to be just about cheerleading. It's more so just about building character, building self esteem, building leaders, building supporters, building people that want to help other people come out of poverty, out of the lack. It's more so. It's not just about cheerleading. It's about like building strong individuals, male and female, being able to adapt to this evolving world that we live in, being able to cultivate and help others alongside themselves get to the next level, being able to reach a level and reach back and help someone else get to that same level and keep that momentum going.
Mhm. Okay. Um, how do you handle conflicts or disagreements among team members? Can you provide an example of a situation you successfully resolved?
Um, when you're dealing with a lot of females, you have a lot of attitudes, a lot of personalities that you constantly have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And one thing I've come to realize that sometimes females don't always deal with their issues face to face. It's usually behind closed doors, behind each other's backs. Now you're creating a divide. And I feel like when dealing with those kind of situations, especially when you're working together as a team and you're having to perform as a team and do team building things, you should be able to work together, and not just because it's a sport or because we're on the same team together, but you should be able to come together and agree to disagree. You don't always have to agree on everything, but just know that you have your opinion, I have my opinion, and we still can work together side by side without any issues.
And so, how did you have you resolved one of those issues before?
I have a situation happened, ooh, years ago. Two cheerleaders were at odds because one person got hit in a stunt, and we had to have a sit down conversation because we still have to build, we still have to stunt together. I mean, no
Mhm.
matter who we swap out, you still are going to have to stunt with each other at some time during the season. And we needed to have a sit down conversation, understand that it's not just one person's fault, it's everybody's fault. Like, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, so that way we don't have those mishaps, we don't have those issues, because one small mishap can really mess up an entire routine.
Mm. So that means that somebody's like, you mean like maybe missing a step or missing a
Exactly.
turn or something like that?
Exactly.
Oh wow. I've always found I've never seen that, but I know, like, as a football player, and sometimes when you when you take a look over on the side, you see cheerleaders doing their thing, but I've never seen that happen. Well, they miss
It's
a step and so
you
forth.
don't really see it often. You don't see it often at a game, or at you don't see it at an event. You usually see
Oh,
most
okay.
of that stuff happen at practice.
Oh,
Because
okay.
what a lot of people see is the finished product. What
Okay.
they don't see in practice is the bickering, the arguing, the verbal fights, the
Right.
attitudes. They don't see that part. They just see the finished product. What happens when you actually finally work together as a unit and actually hit the routine the way it's supposed to be hit.
Right. Okay. And so, so being that you are a coach, what is it that you thought or you felt like was the good thing for you to actually do something of this magnitude to bring this many people together in this camaraderie? What was the thing that made you want to do that?
Um, my watching my cheer coach, Miss Arrington in high school, like she had been coaching cheerleading for a long time. She was coaching at Tuskegee University, which was formerly known as Tuskegee Institute. So
Yeah.
she's had experience with college cheerleading and high school cheerleading. So watching her and seeing like how she conduct herself as a coach and making sure we knew exactly what we were supposed to be doing and explaining it to us, it made me realize that it made me see myself in her shoes and make me realize that there's something I can do, because I'm when it comes to cheerleading, I don't just teach a routine, like I break it down so it makes sense. I try to explain it in a way where everybody can get it, whether it's someone that's just they don't quite hit every step, or you dealing with someone that's a little bit more advanced. I try to make sure everybody is on the same page when it comes to learning material. And then my other coaches in college, Miss Moore and Miss Lunn, they showed me what it means to look good as well as perform good. Like,
Okay.
on and off the stage. You
Okay.
have you have to always be mindful of how you carry yourself and how you conduct yourself because the world is watching you.
Hmm. So it sounds like you're very passionate about this.
Yes, very passionate about it.
So, what strategies do you employ to motivate and inspire your cheerleading squad, especially during challenging times or tough competitions?
I try to get them to see to look at it as practice. I would always tell them practice how you're going to perform. If you practice full out, you're going to perform the same way. So even when you're at home and you're playing around or you're just practicing the moves, think about you actually performing. Even if you're standing in front of the mirror, think about how you want to look to others when you perform. Be mindful of that. So when you're performing, you're putting on a show. You're like a dance team or like Cirque du Soleil. You're putting on a show. So you want to make sure that you wow them from the time you start to the time you finish. You want them to be blown away. You want your routine to be on their mouths from weeks to come. Like after they've seen the routine, boom, is that's all they can think about is, oh my gosh, that was an amazing routine. Like I was blown away.
So, tell us one of your most memorable performances.
My most memorable performance. Um, I have quite a few, but the most memorable performance for me was it was at a pep rally. We were in St. Louis, Missouri, and I want to say we were playing Arkansas Pine Bluff. It was a big
Okay,
classic.
classic.
Yeah. So we were in Missouri and the pep rally was at this, it was outdoors. It was at this, it was like, I want to say it was kind of like a civic center or some kind of museum or something, but we're outdoors. So that was, I would say that was my most memorable moment because that video, no, sorry. But that video that one of the girls that was with us, she recorded it, and it's still viral. It's still going viral on YouTube now, years after that event. It's still going viral.
So, so tell us about that performance. So, like, what made it so memorable for you?
Um, what made it memorable for me was because, well, I've always, when it came to dances, they would always ask me to lead the dances because I I wasn't afraid to get in front of the group and dance. So I will always lead the dances. And this particular time, we were being recorded, not knowing that it was going to be on YouTube, it was going to go viral, it was going to be a big thing, but just knowing that there's actual footage of that actual pep rally that is on YouTube because there's been plenty of other performances that we've done that were really good, but there's no footage of it. There's nothing that we have to look back and say, wow, we really look good, or wow, like that was an amazing experience.
Hmm.
But that one video,
Okay. So, how do you incorporate safety measures into your coaching practices? What steps do you take to ensure the safety of your athletes?
I always make sure that when it comes to stunting, we work one stunt group at a time. When the other stunt groups aren't stunting, they're spotting, they're standing around making sure that the flyer doesn't hit the floor because that's a big thing. The flyer should never touch the floor. Her
Right.
head, her back, her butt should never touch the floor. So
Hmm.
I always make sure I tell them when we're stunting, no talking, hands up, pay attention because the flyer can go either way. She can go backwards, she can go forward, she can go from either side. You have to be prepared so she doesn't fall.
Show us an example of a cheer formation. When y'all be doing all this, how does that go?
Um, a cheer formation usually consists of two lines. Is and everybody's in windows. So it's kind of like you have you'll have two people here, and then you'll have where my head is will be another person. So
Okay.
you always be mindful whenever you're doing a routine. If you're in two lines, you always have to be mindful that you're in your window and that you look either side to make sure your line is one line. You want to make sure that no one is out of place, because if someone's out of place, then it looks off.
Okay. Wow. See, these are technical points I think a lot of people don't even know about.
Right.
Uh, Describe your experience in choreographing routines for cheerleading performances. How do you balance creativity and technical skills in your routines?
um well, with me doing trials for Tuskegee University, it challenges me to always think outside the box. Every like what I do for every trials, I always try to have someone record me do the cheer, the chant, the dance, so that way, as I'm building a routine for the next year, I'll go back and look at the video to make sure that I'm not mimicking what I've done before, because I want it to always be different. But I always add a small part in there that lets people know that I was the one that created it. So it's whether it's like a arm gesture or a motion, I always try to add some small part to let people know that that was my creation, but it wasn't like the one previously. Because like at this trials, this past trials, the girls was talking about the dance that they had for trials last year, and they were talking about a certain movement. I was like, no, I'm not bringing that dance back, because they liked it, but I said I'm not going to bring that dance back.
Oh wow. So just so in that case, I mean, like, do you guys like just craft up routines like for each performance, or is it like something that's a little some of the same stuff, but you just mix it up every time?
it's it's a combination of both. Whenever we have to perform, we make sure we think of the stunt or pyramid that we're going to do, and we work on that. And then once we got that aspect of it, if we want to add words to it, we think of what cheer or what chant can we add to it that will give us enough time to build the pyramid as well as do the motions. So it really just depends. But some routines may get used again at a later date, and then we may just scrap it and do something different.
Is there like a particular person that's designated to do these things?
No, it's kind of like a team effort.
Okay. So, with all that being said, and for all the wonderful things here and starting out, especially looking at, you saying you want to have a cheer academy. Can you tell me what are some of the things that you have done when it comes to adding these skills or these things that you bring? How do you bring these things to the community?
Um, I just I always try to reach out to like different schools, different organizations, and just kind of see if there's a need. Are they needing someone to come in and polish up a routine, or come in and help strengthen the team, or come in and just kind of add more to the team, give them a variety.
Mhm.
Once I've established that, then I actually go in and I'll work with the team. I'll create a routine, build a routine, or just simply work on the skills that they already have and just help them to advance from at the level that they are to another level that they didn't think that they could get to.
Mhm. So, how do you assess individual strengths and weaknesses within a cheerleading team? And how do you use this information to improve the overall performance?
Um, I usually ask questions as far as what can they do and what they are unable to do. And once I've gotten that information, I usually know exactly to go in and start working on the things that they're unable to do first, because those usually are the most challenging. And then and then we improve on the things that they're able to do.
Okay. Um, Share a time. when you had to adapt your coaching style to accommodate different learning abilities or personalities within your team?
Um, Now, within the cheer community, there's this style of cheer called stump and shake, and
Mhm.
it's becoming more it's becoming more of a cultural thing now. And working with my old high school, they adapted to that style, so I had to learn the style so I could help improve their technique within the style, because they stump and shake is kind of, it's cheerleading, but it's more of a performance type of cheerleading. It kind of gives you, it's kind of like where cheerleading meets step team. It's kind
Okay.
of like that. So not knowing a lot about it or not being exposed to it a lot, I
Hmm.
had to kind of get out of my head about it and not be so against it, because it was becoming a trending thing with a lot of black schools. So I had to like learn a little bit more about it and become more knowledgeable about it, so that way when I'm working with teams that do stump and shake, that I can critique in a way where it makes sense and they'll understand why they need to do it this way versus that way.
Okay. What role do you believe cheerleading plays in promoting school spirit and fostering a sense of community within a school or organization?
It plays a major role because they are the face of the the sporting event. They're, when people come to the game, of course they're watching the football team, they're watching the basketball team, but they're also watching the cheerleaders, because the cheerleaders are doing crowd petition crowd participation crowd participation chants to get the crowd more involved, to help them understand, okay, now the team is on defense, or now the team is on offense, and or if the team is down, like what can we do to pick up the morale for the team to get them back into the game. The cheerleaders are that divide, that line between the actual sport and the spectators. They help connect those two lines, those two dots. And as far as the community, they help the community get more involved in the school athletic programs. It helped them to get more accustomed to what's going on and how different sporting events interact or take place.
How do you prioritize both the physical and mental well being of your cheerleaders throughout the season?
Um, I always try to tell them to don't don't always go home and think about cheerleading. Like go home, like detox. Like go home, have a good time. Don't always be so surrounded by cheerleading, because cheerleading can be very, very consuming because it's a year-round event. And sometimes you have to kind of go out to the movies or go to the park and just kind of do things that aren't cheerleading related to kind of give that sense of balance, because it's like gymnastics or football. When you're consumed with it, that's all you can think about. You can't think about anything else. So you have to allow yourself to be able to find that healthy balance between your sport and things outside of your sport, your interests outside of sports.
Do you think that's one of the things that makes cheering so important?
I do. I do.
Can you be a little bit more in depth with that? Because
I feel like with mental health being such a big thing now, um, knowing that cheerleading, that you don't have to be so consumed with it. You can have other interests, you can have other activities that you participate in, but still always have that special place with cheerleading. Like you don't have to just be solely tunnel vision when it comes to cheerleading. You can do other things and know that it's okay, and know that you still can come back to cheerleading with no problem.
Okay. So I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense because I know, like for any of the other sports, that is when it comes to football, baseball, even tennis, is that the mindset has to be totally, totally crisp and clear. You have to be totally, totally focused, especially if you're one of those that they consider to be one of the real high performers.
Hmm.
So it's like if your mental is not there, then you're gonna miss more than a step.
Exactly.
Mm. So is this something that you guys go through? Like maybe you have like some teaching or coaching on how to stay mentally focused? Do y'all do any of that?
N- Not necessarily. It's just more so just knowing that it's just more so when you're at practice, you're focusing on practice. You're focusing on hitting your skills, hitting your mark. Once you at certain points during practice, you'll get a break. So you'll have a moment where you can do something fun, laugh, joke, and then when that break is over, then it's time to reel it back in, which is easy because you know that within cheerleading, you have to have fun. You have to have some sense of happiness, some sense of excitement, because without it, it becomes lackluster and mundane.
Okay. Discuss your experience in organizing and managing cheerleading events or competitions.
Um, I've yet to manage a cheer competition. Only thing I've managed thus far is cheer camps and trials. Managing cheer camps is just, for me, is basically having an itinerary, knowing what it is that we're going to be working on. If they're learning material, having a set time for learning material. If they're going to be working on refreshers as far as motions, jumps, knowing exactly how it's supposed to look, how their body position is supposed to be in the air when they're jumping, or knowing where their arms are supposed to be placed when they're doing their motions. It's just having the itinerary and just kind of sticking to the itinerary to a degree where it makes sense and it keeps everybody in check. It keeps everybody on task.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your personal training. How did the personal training come to be?
Well, after cheerleading, I wasn't really cheerleading was like my form of exercise. Like, because we have to be we had early morning practice, early morning workouts, late evening practices, and then we'll do some kind of formal workout right after practice. So not having that in my life, I knew I needed to be doing something because I didn't want to get fat. I didn't want to get lazy. So I first initially just started like taking walks whenever I would get bored, or if I didn't want to sit at home doing nothing, I would go for a walk. 1 mile leads to 2 miles, 2 miles leads to 3 miles. And before I knew it, I would like want to go anywhere I would go, I would opt to walk versus driving. If it was in the safe distance, I will opt to walk versus driving. And doing that for a while is like, okay, I feel good. So now I need to like incorporate some more than just the cardio. I need to do a little bit of actual weightlifting. So I didn't have a gym membership at a time, so I was just using my body weight. So I would do push-ups, do sit-ups, do crunches, do squats, do lunges, and doing that for a while, I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. I mean, I was still able to do cheerleading related things, but I felt good. And knowing that I'm not getting any younger, I'm getting older, that exercising and being active was something that I needed to do. And I needed to do it somewhat constant. If I wasn't doing it all the time, I needed to have some kind of consistency to it. And I say probably like 2021. That's when I kind of was like, I think I can actually see myself working out, because people would ask me like, "What are you doing to stay fit? What are you doing to stay active?" And I was giving pointers, and I was like, "Well, now I need to start, getting a little more in depth, because." I don't want someone to ask a question that I didn't quite know the answer to, and I couldn't give it to them right then. So I was like, okay, let me let me dive deeper into this and get more knowledge on, you know, training and working out and knowing like the correct terminology and knowing like the different parts of the body and knowing like how they work together and how they're still separate entities.
Mm. So why ISSA? And what made you decide then at this point that now you're going to become a personal trainer?
Well, I was seeing a lot of different like posts on social media of, you know, I would see like different advertisements for from them, and I initially I reached out to someone just to kind of inquire. I wasn't like certain that that was what I wanted to do. I just kind of wanted I wanted to do something because granted, I don't mind working a 9 to 5, but I would like to be doing my own thing, like set my own hours. You know, if I decide, okay, I want to take a little vacation and not want to work this week, I could do that. You know, I want to be in control of my life instead of it being controlled by a job or jobs.
Mhm.
So when I inquired about it, the guy gave me all the information that I needed, and it probably took me like a few days before I decided to actually pursue it. But once I started, it was challenging because I hadn't done anything school related in a while. So it's like, okay, now I'm kind of somewhat in a school setting, even though I'm doing it online and I set my own hours as to when I'm going to study. But it was a little challenging at first, but I knew that when I finished, the reward was going to be so much greater. So I went with it and didn't look back.
So here you go now that you are a personal trainer. How is your clientele going?
My clientele isn't going the way I would like for it to go. Most of my, I mean, I talk to people like my mom and different relatives about, the essential about working out and wanting to be active as you're getting older. You want to live a long, healthy life and, monitor what you eat, be mindful of the things that you put in your body, and that's pretty much the gist of my clientele. Is I haven't really like gotten people solely interested. I've gotten people to say, "Oh, I need you to be my personal trainer," and then it kind of goes flat.
Mhm. Okay,
So
so
it's like I get them interested, but the interest doesn't stick.
okay, well, now is a good time, is a good plug for you to tell those folks that's watching about your company and your personal training and the things that you do and why you are the best fit for them.
Okay, so I'm my company, Infinity Elite. We focus on fitness, not just you don't have to necessarily be in a gym setting. You can work out at home, you can work out in a park, you can work out while watching your favorite TV show. It's just about being mindful of your body and knowing when it has a good day and when it's having a bad day, and also knowing when something is wrong. When you're working out and being active, this allows you to know that, okay, I'm walking a little different. I need to figure out why. I need to know why versus you not being active, not doing anything but just going work home, church home. You're not active, so you don't know if there's something wrong, but you can catch it instantly when you're active versus when you're not active. So what we do is we start off with just body weight. No gym, no heavy weights, none of that. We start off with simply calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, cardio, lunges, squats, until you can build that momentum to start incorporating light weights. And then we can go a little heavy depending on if you're wanting to bulk up, or if you're wanting to slim down, or if you're wanting to just be lean, or if you're just wanting to keep the body you have and just tone it up. We do everything. We're not quite on the meal prep thing, but some of the things that I do, I don't eat as much red meat. Well, I don't eat any red meat. I haven't had red meat in about 5, 6, 7. 10 years. Very little pork. I don't eat a lot of fried foods. I eat mostly like baked. I use the air fryer, like things of like that. I don't really do the meal prep as of right now because I want to focus on the body and just getting active. And then once I get more comfortable with that, then I can start to dive into the nutrition and, knowing those micros and those macros that you need and those proteins, and knowing how to measure the right amount of portions that you need for your everyday life.
So so you still haven't told them when is the meal prep coming and how do they contact you?
Okay. The meal prep, I'll give myself about a year and a half with the meal prep. To contact me, you can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok. Facebook and Instagram, it's Cheer Guy 23. TikTok is Joey Cheers 23. Um, I'm also on LinkedIn. You can look up Joseph Clifton Moore. Um, yeah. And if you need my actual contact information, then just direct message me, and I can give you that contact information. So that way you can have it, my email, my phone number, and that way we can really discuss, like, as far as like workout plans, um, all that good stuff.
Remember, everyone, that's Infinity Elite. And Mr. Joseph Moore is waiting to hear from you because he's ready to help you get that body in motion, get it in shape,
Yes,
get it ready to
yes,
go.
exactly.
So they'll be ready next summer, right?
Right. And not just the summer, but for the rest of your life. You don't want to be summer fine. You want to be every year fine.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So tell us, how do you involve and communicate with parents, guardians of the cheerleaders to ensure their support and involvement?
I always try to make sure that parents know that without them, their child can't participate, or their child can't be great. So their involvement, their participation is very, very important. You have to be involved because that way you know what's going on in your child's life, regardless if it's cheerleading, gymnastics, football, basketball. Be involved, know what's going on, always ask questions, always want to know everything that you need to know about that child's sport. So that way you know when something goes wrong, or you know when something isn't right. You automatic, it's like a radar. You just know, you know that something's not right, and you're able to kind of step in and say, okay, let's do this, so that way we can make sure and ensure that my child's safety is important.
Mhm. So what strategies do you use to keep up to date with the latest trends and techniques in cheerleading coaching?
I'm a big YouTuber, so I'm always on YouTube. I'm always watching different cheerleading programs to see what it is that's going on. I'm also staying close to like National Cheerleaders Association and Universal Cheerleaders Association, because the rules change year after year when it comes to different levels and what they're able to do and what they're unable to do. So I'm always trying to stay in tune with those two companies because they know what's going on, as well as the United States Athlete All Star Federation, because they know they keep up with anything that's new and that's different, or anything that needs to be changed as far as the rules and regulation in cheerleading on all levels, whether it's all star, school, college, recreational.
Okay. And share your philosophy regarding the balance between pushing athletes to their limits and preventing burnout or overexertion.
My philosophy is to not to not ride your athletes. Just knowing when they reach that point of burnout is, you have to know your athletes. One, two, you have to know your athletes potential, and where and if they can go a little bit further. You don't want to push a cheerleader too far. You don't want to push your athletes, period, too far to burnout, because then they lose interest. They lose interest fast. So you want to push them, but you also want to know when to cut it off. You don't want to constantly keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and you don't have that cutoff moment. You have to give them that break. You have to give them that moment to reset, because without it, it burns and it won't stop.
Mm. Now, just to divert here for just a second, can you tell us, with all these wonderful things again that you are doing, how are these things intermingling and carrying over into the LGBTQ community?
Um, That's good. As far as the fitness, I've been participating in it's a pride run they have every year.
Hmm.
I first found out about it last year, and I was so excited about it that I signed up and I participated, and I enjoyed it so much that I knew I wanted to do it again next year. Whenever they put out the information, I made sure to follow them on all social media so that way I can keep up with them. And it's actually this run group called Front Runners. They're here in Atlanta, and
Hmm.
they're always doing different things in the community, as far as like they're like hosting different events for the LGBTQ community. They may participate in other events and try to include their organization, or try to contribute something from their organization to that particular organization that they're working with. And I truly enjoy it. Now, as far as cheerleading, I would actually like to start a cheerleading program here, because there are cheer organizations in other states. They have Cheer San Francisco, Cheer Fort Lauderdale, Cheer New York, and they do like a lot of like nonprofit performances. They raise money for like AIDS research and different other organizations. I would like to do something like that here in Atlanta, because they had one like years ago, because I tried to look them up, but it's been disbanded. So I got to try to do some research and see what can I do to bring that back, because I think that would be something really great for those people that have cheered, or those adults that didn't get a chance to cheer in high school and college but
Right.
want to do it. And this is a way for them to be able to do something that they see and love, but also it can be something great for the community.
Sounds like Cheer Atlanta to me.
Right. Right.
Um, so, what inspired you to pursue a career in cheerleading coaching, personal training, and styling?
Because I've had experience with all three in different at different times, and knowing that I enjoy them, and it always made me feel good to either go for a walk, to exercise, or to do something cheerleading related, or to do someone's hair. It made me feel good, and then knowing that I could help someone else feel good,
Mhm.
it does something to me. Knowing that I can make someone feel good, look good, or improve their way of life, it puts a smile on my face.
Well, see, there are a lot of people that actually have some inspiration and motivations just like you do. And I think right now, at this time, right now, at this point today, in 2024, it's like you kind of like been dancing around what you're supposed to be doing. And so now starting today, I think that means that you need to like just hit it and make
Right.
it happen.
Yeah, I really do. I really do. It's a guy that I actually follow on LinkedIn. I want to say I don't think he's the founder of Cheer Fort Lauderdale, but I think he kind of works closely with the person that created that. And I think I'm gonna reach out to him later on this evening and just kind of like pick his brain and see like what all he needed to do to get that started, and what all it took to get it started, so that way I know what I'm getting myself into, and I know how to hit the ground running, because I have some information, or at least if he can't give me the information, point me to the person that I need to talk to, so I can pick their brain and see exactly what it is that I need to start doing, so I know once my feet hit the ground, I need to not look back.
Because I'll tell you, when you talk about expanding your network, because that's the thing that I think I've become really really good at. And it's like when you have many things that you like to do and you work at doing an enormous amount of things, it's always good to network with people in all those areas, because in
Exactly.
all those areas you start to expand out. And as you're expanding out, pretty much after a while, you got a whole big old 360-degree circle around you.
Mm-hmm.
With all of that, you just have to put all the pieces together and make it work.
Yeah.
As a personal trainer, how do you tailor fitness programs to meet individual clients' goals and needs?
First, I would initially do a consultation to see like where they are. Have they ever worked out? What would a typical workout day look like for them? And just kind of get an idea as to the things that they do, like their way of living, their work schedule, so I can see how can I incorporate fitness into their everyday life without it being something that's consuming or something that they have to put on a back burner. How can they work in a workout while still managing a busy life? Can
Mhm,
they, is it something that they can do early in the morning when they first get up? Is it something that they need to do when they get off? Like where can we find that happy medium when it comes to working out and knowing when is a good time that you'll have your full dedication to that moment?
mhm,
Because just like you dedicate time to watch TV, cook, eat, work, you should be able to dedicate some time to self, to build to self. It's just like self-care. You need to be able to dedicate that time to build the body up. You're doing everything else, but you're not taking care of self. And taking care of self includes working out and doing the things that is going to be beneficial for you health wise.
What does self-care look like to you?
Self-care, beyond being lazy and just kind of binge watching TV, it's about getting outside, seeing nature, going to a park, like allowing myself to be outside. Don't be so inside all the time. Going to the park, going for a walk and on a nature trail, just getting out.
Mhm. So, I mean, does that include spa days? Does that include massages? Does that
It
include?
honestly, it don't really include any of that. It's just more so just getting out, being one with nature, having like a mental detox from everything, from the TVs, from the social media, just kind of like going to a lake and just sitting there and meditating, or just going for a walk and listening to nature.
Mhm. That's interesting. Can you share a memorable success story from your career as a cheer coach? What impact did it have on the team or individual athletes?
Um, my most memorable moment, I got an opportunity to work with a high school, Mitchell County High School, out of Mitchell County, Georgia. They wanted a competition routine. This was my first time ever putting together a competition routine. So I was excited and nervous all in one. And it was a 3-day camp. And I taught them a competition routine from beginning to end. And that was my most memorable, and I would say my greatest accomplishment as a coach thus far, because I was able to do something that I didn't think I would ever be able to do. And it was something outside of my comfort zone when it came to cheerleading, because Building a competition routine is very, very tedious because there's so many components that go into it. You have to think about formation changes, um, dance, stunts, pyramids, jumps, tumbling, and you're dealing with not just one individual, but you're dealing with anywhere from 12 to 20, maybe even 30 individuals that's going to be on a mat. So you have to, and you also have to think about everyone's strengths and weaknesses and knowing where to place people so their strengths can be broadcast on a big stage.
Mhm. So in this case, though, like when all is said and done, what does it actually comes back to? What is the one main thing that in order to make all of that happen, what is that one thing that they have to make sure they do?
Um, Practice.
Practice.
They have to practice, and they have to be mentally prepared to take in whatever it is that whatever information that they take in, because there's no such thing as bad information. All information is good information. Like everything you hear, whether it comes from me or it comes from your actual coach, it's all to make you better. It's all to make you improve from where you are. Where you start is not where you want to end. You want to end doing more than where you started out.
Hmm.
And it's not, and not even that, but it's to make you a better person mentally and physically and emotionally.
Mm. Wow. Now, see, that's a lot. And can you tell me, like, once all of those things are actually like done and they brought them all together and they're feeling super, super fantastical. Um, what is it that you as a coach, what do you expect from that point when you say you've got this and this is what I expect? What does that look like?
um it's just sitting back and seeing everything that you have said and taught and done, seeing it like blossom in front of your eyes. It's like knowing that that was something you did.
Mhm,
It's like gr- growing a flower. To
mhm,
want to finally see it bloom, it's a beautiful thing. To know that you were the reason why they can smile, they can leave practice smiling, or they can leave the competition floor smiling because all your hard work, all your words of encouragement, all your constructive criticism, it helps shape them and mold them into strong individuals, knowing that nothing or no one can stop them from being great.
how do you stay creative when designing cheerleading routines? Are there any unique themes or elements you've incorporated?
Um, I usually YouTube is one of my go-tos when it comes to getting that creative juice going. I'll watch a video on YouTube, or I'll listen to a particular song, and once I hear the song, I listen to the actual beat, the music aspect of it, and that usually gets me in that creative mindset. A song like Sierra, any of Sierra's upbeat songs, they usually kind of get me in that upbeat mindset. Like, okay, I need to create something because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like a routine is about to come up. Like I need to do something. Like I'm feeling like I can build something off of this.
Um, discuss the importance of teamwork and collaboration within a cheerleading squad. How do you foster strong bonds among team members?
One thing to help with a strong bond with among team is like having team building activities, like doing games where they have to work as a team, and they have to work with a partner, or doing some kind of like scavenger hunt, or anything where it allows them to be creative, but also knowing that they have someone they have to work with. Like they can't. It's not a solo. solo thing. They always working with someone. It helps them to understand that it's great to work individually, but it's so much greater when you have another brain to pick ideas off of. It really allows you to really expand your knowledge and expand your creativity when you know that there's someone else that you can piggyback ideas off of, or thoughts you can bounce ideas and thoughts off of. So team building events, team building activities, games, anything where it allows them to like have to work at with a, a individual or multiple individuals. Those are the best things to help with team building.
Okay, we're gonna stray a little bit here,
Okay.
and a little bit. We're gonna play a little game. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to I'm gonna say a word to you, and when I give you this word, I need to know the first thing that comes to your mind.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. I'm ready.
Ready?
Hmm.
Cheer,
Team,
dance,
spirit.
move,
Okay, move. Low,
sing,
dance,
music,
fluid,
wait,
heavy,
run,
jump,
walk,
stroll,
gym,
owner,
car.
drive.
Okay. Now, all of those things that are so relevant to the things that you do as a cheer coach, as a personal trainer, and as a stylist. When you think of all those words and you had all of those things come out and you had things running through your mind just then, because I'm sure they was blazing. Is there one thing that stands out most to you that actually comes back to you that you can represent?
Um, Fluid. I think of being fluid, being able to change and adapt, but never straying away from who you are.
Mhm. So
Being able,
fluidity.
huh?
So fluidity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, that's interesting. Because that is normally the term that's basically for most people when they want to like kind of like how they see people sometimes. They normally see that with younger people, which I think is a good thing if you want to know the truth.
Yeah,
Because what that says is that says that you are you.
exactly.
So, what advice do you give to aspiring cheerleaders who want to excel in their sport?
I tell them to not be afraid of change, to always believe that if it's possible, it can be done, and to always push themselves beyond their own abilities.
Mhm. And so, I mean, does that mean that know your limits, or does that mean that you want to like exert it all and leave it all on the floor, as they say?
Know your limits. Give it all you got, but also know your limits. Know what you're capable of doing, and knowing that you're not that you don't have to be able to do everything to be great. You can be excellent in one area and not in another, but that doesn't make you any less than the person that's able to execute all areas. You're just as good. You just lack one area, but you're just as good as a person that can execute all things, because everyone is different. Everyone has the ability to be great regardless of their skill level or their knowledge. Everyone can be great.
That is true. Describe a time when you faced a coaching challenge or setback. How did you overcome it?
Um, One team that I worked with, I didn't quite know the skill level. So my mindset, because of the age group, I assumed that they knew certain things when it
Mhm.
came to cheerleading. And when I got to the girls and I saw what I saw as far as their skill level, I knew then I needed to water what I had to teach them down so it's not too complex. But I also realized in that same instance that they were they were able to learn the more advanced stuff, but it was harder for them to learn the basic stuff. So it was two challenges in one. Like I didn't know the skill level going into the practice, and then I learned that they didn't quite get the basics. They wanted to they could pick up on the advanced stuff, but I needed them to understand why you need to know the basics. You have to know the basics before you can do the advanced stuff. Because you can't execute something advanced if you don't have the basic knowledge.
Mhm. So, is it safe to say then that that they were just in the opposite direction and had no real foundation?
That was and the coach was fairly new. So it wasn't there wasn't no connection with the coach and the team because she was new, the team was fairly new, so there wasn't that connection where the coach knew what she was dealing with or what she had in front of her.
As a stylist, how do you stay updated on fashion trends and adapt them to your clients' preferences?
um I always I'm always on social media looking to see what's popular, what's in, what everybody is gravitating to. And also when it comes to clients, I always try to get a sense of their personality, their style, so I know exactly what to suggest or what to make recommendations.
I'm gonna hit this question here, which is hidden from a different spot, but I think we kind of talked about this before.
Okay.
What role does mental preparation play in achieving success as a cheerleader or athlete?
um Repeat that question one more time.
What role does mental preparation play in achieving success as a cheerleader or athlete?
It's an important it's an important role. You always want to be mentally prepared for whatever sport that you're participating in. You want to make sure you know exactly what it is that you are supposed to be doing. You want to also know what your teammates what their positions are or what their responsibilities are. So that way if something happens and you need to help a teammate stay on task or you need to help a teammate in a bind, you know exactly what to do and how to help them. It's very important. You always want to stay mentally prepared for whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay, and the big finale. Share your thoughts on the intersection of fitness, fashion, and confidence. How do these aspects complement each other?
um, Fashion complements fitness and confidence because if you feel good, you look good. If you look good, you'll perform good.
Mhm.
You can't, I feel like you can't have one without the other because if you don't have confidence, you're not going to want to work out. You're not going to want to look good. You're always going to be you're always going to self-sabotage yourself. So you
Mm,
have to have confidence whether you're walking down the street, reading a book, lifting weights, performing in front of an audience, or getting styled. You have to have confidence because it helps boost the morale of yourself, but it helps other people around you because they can feel your energy. If you're confident, you're giving off positive energy that attracts people. People
Mhm.
want to be around positivity. No one really wants to be around negativity. So if I'm exuding confidence, I'm telling people that I'm happy with myself.
Mhm.
I'm going to want to interact with other people because I'm confident. I'm going to want to look at people in the face when I'm having a conversation with them because I'm confident.
Mhm.
I'm going to want to look good because I'm confident. I want my clothes to look good. I want my hair to look good. I want my face to look good. I want everything to look good. And with that being said, that means I need to be physically fit. I need to be in shape. I don't want to be out here wearing itty bitty clothes and I barely can wear them. Like I want to feel good. So I want to look good. I want to know when I look in the mirror that I love what I'm looking at. I
Mhm.
love to see what I see.
Mhm.
Because if I love it, then I know everyone else is gonna love it.
Oh, that's what's up. I like that. I like that. So it's always good to exude the confidence.
Always.
Yes, sir. So, what is it that you like to leave our audience with as we wrap up this wonderful session?
I would love for our audience to take a moment and love yourself. One, love yourself and appreciate the person that you are. Take time for your mental. The mental is powerful. You have to be positive. You have to be positive. You have to have positivity in your life. Without it, your life will perish. But also know that it's okay to talk to people. It's okay to reach out to people and to lean on people when you need it. That's what I'm here for. Infinity Elite, we're not just all about cheerleading, fitness, and styling. We're about being happy with who we are. And if we're not happy, what can we do to make those changes so that we are happy?
Mhm.
What can we do to bring positivity in our life? What can we do to welcome positivity into our lives?
Mm. Yes. And I will say on those words, ladies and gentlemen, we just had Mr. Joseph Moore tell us a whole lot about Infinity Elite. Also, he had a lot to display about the teamwork in cheering. He had to he was telling us a lot about exuding confidence and being who you are when it comes to maybe you need to get a personal trainer and maybe you need to do a little bit more exercising to build your body. These are things where you need to move, you've got to get that blood flowing, and you've got to keep yourself in a place that you don't ever have to worry about health. He just displayed an enormous amount when it comes to even with the styling. It's all the same. It all works together because beauty is inside. And the beauty that you see is the beauty that you know. If you know yourself and you love yourself, then you'll have that confidence to be that person. We just had a great, great lesson from Mr. Moore and Infinity Elite. I'd like to tell each and every last one of you that watched the show, especially those that were watching on the YouTube channel, I would appreciate it if you would please hit the subscription button, hit the notification button in case you miss a show. You'll always be able to come back and watch that show. And I would appreciate if you did that because as you're building and you're learning from all the wonderful guests that we have, we're learning and we're growing as well. I'd like to thank each of you for your time this evening. I'd like to thank you again, Mr. Moore, for spending some time with us and letting us into your world.
Thank you
And
for having me.
and I hope that you will definitely come back.
Oh, most definitely.
And for those of you that watched, I want to thank you again for your time. You all have a great evening, and we will definitely see you tomorrow with another great show. Have a wonderful night And thank you again.